Welcome back here to Borio's 8891 McDonnells Parkway in Cicero, New York. Rob Drummond played for Syracuse last time the team was undefeated. Here's something for you Syracuse fans. There's been 2 undefeated teams for Syracuse football. Ernie Davis with the national champion team and Rob Drummond's team in the late 80s that just so happened to go down south and beat a team in Auburn. Since back in the day you could tie, but Syracuse was up the whole game until that last field goal. Also, with Rob Drummond, number 1 Nebraska came into the Dome and went home with a loss. So, Rob Drummond with a lot of great history for Syracuse as they work to get back to positive history. I'm Dan Tortora, your sportscaster, sports writer. I'm doing it for over a decade, and I'm very thankful to put my name on the door with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Once again, here from Borio's. Special teams is the last thing we have to cover. First thing to say is, and I think that this is, out of all 3 phases of the game, special teams is that forgotten phase.
It is.
Unless you run a kickback for a touchdown, or run a punt back for a touchdown, or kick a 60-yard field goal, people don't care. Now, if you miss a field goal, everybody talks about it. But if you make 30 in a row, nobody talks about it. So we're going to start with field goal kicking, extra points, kickoffs, whatever you want to talk about when it comes to a kicker. Ross Trotman has been the starting kicker for Syracuse, been a humble guy, a quiet guy, great player, even better off the field. Scott Schaefer spoke volumes of this man and everything he's meant to Syracuse. But because of his injury to his hip, that he's been playing injured for 2 years. So you want to talk about hard-nosed, blue-collar, a kicker playing injured for the past 2 seasons. Some linebackers won't do that. And you look at Ross Trotman, and now he's not here, and it's a big loss.
I feel for that young man. Football aside, it's got to be one of the hardest decisions in your life as a football player, whether it be professional, whether it be collegiate, whether it be high school, to have to make that final decision to hang the cleats up, as we say. Because it's a very, very emotional time, because most of these guys have been playing since they were 5, 6, 7. Top Warner, Mighty, Junior Pee-wee, all throughout the system. And to finally have to call it quits because of an injury, it's got to be a heart-wrenching, emotion for this young man. But you know what? Austin's going to be okay. It's to the point now where there's life after football. And right now for him, this young man, and you know me, I'm not religious and spiritual, but it's a simple fact that God has another path for him.
Yeah.
But he tried, he gave it his best shot, but I have the utmost respect for this young man, the decision he made. He showed a lot of character in making his decision early. Telling Syracuse, just what? I could tough it out for 1 more year, but I just can't do it. I have a lot of respect for him.
With Ross not being here now, Cole Murphy is a guy that comes out, a young kid. They bring over a guy from overseas in England, Alex Hodgkinson, and also Ryan Norton. Ryan Norton has had the experience. Ryan Norton has also been suspended multiple times. Where do you see the kicking game going now? Because you have the guy who has the experience hasn't always been someone you can trust off the field. And then you have Alex Hodgkinson, who people saw a lot of at the spring game, but where he stands is up in question. Cole Murphy, same type of thing. So, and Riley Dixon has been in there to kick before when there's been injuries. So, where do you see things shaking out right now? Is this a position where you're a little bit, not nervous, but questioning?
You know what? In a casino term or gambling terms, I honestly have to say it's a crapshoot. For the simple fact that we have a bunch of young, inexperienced guys, just some with some experience, but not enough to be consistent to understand what's going to happen, what's going to go on. I could care less what they're doing in training camp right now. When you're under fire, and you have the likes of a Florida State, of a Villanova, of a Clemson, of a Duke, of an NC State, lining up against you, running you to rush the ball to try and block, either block your kick or trying to run one back against you. It's a whole different world. So right now, this is going to be I always say there's 3 phases of the game of football. There's offense, there's special teams, and there's defense. You win 3 phases of those games, it's a blowout. You win 2 phases of those games, it's a close game. But special teams, it's usually never always offense, defense. It's usually always offense, special teams, defense, special teams. They're going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up big this year on special teams.
When you look at special teams, one of the things that goes unnoticed, too, is on punt return, and Richie Desir, he's one of those guys that you don't see this a lot. He goes after and tries to catch every single ball. When there's a guy in front of him, this is where you know someone is fearless and doesn't care who he's playing, doesn't care how close you are, how big you are, how fast you are, no matter what it is. He will catch a ball when he's as close as you and I are right now. And Scott Schaefer said, nobody understands how valuable that is and how many yards he gets them just by putting his hands on the ball and not letting it bounce by him because somebody's close.
You know what? Young man is hurt. That's one thing, even with, to go off on a different subject, even to talk about reps. I can sit there and train all the athletic athletes in the world. It doesn't matter who it is. I can tell you how athletic you are. The one thing, and I tell out of the thousands and thousands of coaches I talk to, of the thousands and thousands of players I train, of the thousands and thousands of high school coaches I talk to, for every sport, I always say, the one thing I cannot measure is heart. Richie Desir has heart. And that's one intangible. If you ever see an athlete, you give that athlete the opportunity to make a chance, because that's the kind of athlete, when they step onto the field, you're always going to want to make a play for you, because even if they mess up, I was the same type of person. I was the same type of player. I had heart. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the fastest. But you know what? I had heart. They put me on special team. I had desire and a heart to go out there and do the best I can. They put me a wide receiver. I had the higher desire to do the best I can. I did well. They put me a running back. I had a higher desire to do the best I can, and the rest is history. You know what? I'll take a player over heart with heart any day over the super athlete, because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get somebody who goes out there who's fearless, is going to go out there and may not be the best athlete, but you'll never outwork him.
Taking it one step further with him, you talk about heart with Richie. He told me that before every single game, he calls his mother the night before, and he prays with her on the phone.
I can respect that. I can respect that for the simple fact that, as I said before, I'm not religious at all, because to me, religion there are too many rules. I'm spiritual. If I feel it inside of me, that's what I go by. You know what? The simple fact of him being able to call his mother and sit there and go pray with her, for her to understand that for him, you know, that's a great relationship to a young man in Islam.
When you look at the return game, running backs, receivers, a lot of people are used. There's that opportunity. I mean, you can use a safety, you can use a corner. Devontae McFarland, George Morris II, they both had experience at the running back position, but also returning the ball. When you look at the return game, how vital is it to have? I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, would you go for a running back? When I've talked to the staff before, they said with a running back, you can trust your hands a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know that there's going to be speed if you're putting him back there. But more so than a receiver, even sometimes they trust the hands of a running back.
You know what? It gets into a point where I'm not on the field enough to tell what these coaches need to do or what they should do. But it gets into a point of ebb and flow where these kids are basically, you know, they're interchangeable. You know, you can put Devontae in, you can put George in. You know, it doesn't matter. As long as you get a player in there who's hot at the time, who's feeling comfortable at the time, who's feeling up for a game at this time, is, you know, that comes from the coach's call, and that's a judgment call by the coaches, and hopefully they can make that judgment call very well.
Last thing on special teams, probably the most thankless job on the team. Man's getting looked at all over the country. He's up for awards. Riley Dixon, punter. Before him, Rob Long, not too long before. One of the best ones that Syracuse has seen in a long time. Riley Dixon, you talk about offense and you talk about defense, but who dictates where the offense of the opposing team starts?
The punter.
Your punter.
The punter. You know, and the one word, and I can leave it at this about Riley Dixon, is, you know what? Consistency. Consistency. He consistently puts, no matter how much of an offense stalled on the drive for Syracuse, he puts the defense in a position where you have to go the length of the field, and that's a weapon.
Riley Dixon, a weapon. Mark that down, folks. If you haven't heard it before, you heard it here. Borio's 8891 McDonnells Parkway in Cicero, New York. Rob Drummond of Syracuse, the NFL, the CFL. Man played many seasons on the professional level, did so many great things on the collegiate level, but more importantly, does things on the personal level with people every single day. Your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your moms, your dads, your grandparents. Rob Drummond helping people to truly find happiness in their life by getting mentally there, physically there, and emotionally just taking care of business. So I thank Rob for all the work he's done in the community, and we'll continue to bring you Syracuse football news, updates, insider information, and of course to talk about the games that have happened and will happen straight from Borio's. If you're not here, you're missing out. 8891 McDonnells Parkway in Cicero, New York. Great food, great atmosphere, and of course, the two of us talking with fans, giving you something you've never had before in Syracuse. As always, Rob, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.